Hello friends, this is Cooper again with Fed Retirement Planning, and today I'm going to give you my best financial advice. Cue the intro. For those of you that don't know, I'm a financial planner. I help federal employees dive into their finances and get from where they are to where they want to go, as well as help them with their investments and things like that. And what I deal with often is helping people define their goals and create the financial lifestyle that they want to lead. In my job, I provide a lot of detailed advice, a lot of things that are really in the weeds, and I think it's required for financial planning, for financial planners to do those things. But that said, there's something to be said about this overarching advice for federal employees or for people in general for their finances. These tenets of financial ideas that have been around forever that really, if you focus on the big things, the little things will come about themselves. And I dive into a lot of little things on this channel, things like how to invest in your TSP, what to do with your TSP after retirement, what to do with FEGLI, all your different benefits and all these different things that comprise your financial life as a federal employee. But I really do like to hit on the big topics too, because I think when you dial down those, that's when you really start to see this, cumulative effect that's going to help you in the long run. Okay? And so my best financial advice is really simple. Focus on the things you can control and don't focus on the things you can't control. Let me give you a few examples of things you can't control. Okay? The first thing is the market. So many of you are looking for the perfect TSP investment strategy. In fact, I did a video on the best TSP investment strategy and probably disappointed a lot of folks because I didn't really give an exact strategy. And the reason I didn't give an exact strategy is because there's not one. Okay? So the best financial advice I have is stop worrying so much about what the market's going to do and worry about the things that you can control, okay? So you can't control the market. You can't control how your TSP is going to perform. You just can't, okay? But you can control how you're allocated, so that's number one, and you can control how you contribute, okay? So there's so many people that are worried about having the perfect allocation, when in reality they should be worried about lowering their expenses so they can contribute more to the TSP, because that's something they can control. Okay. Another thing you can't control: FEGLI increasing in price. Okay, you can't control that FEGLI increases in price, but what you can control is planning when to get out of FEGLI, planning on what other insurance to get, taking care of yourself so that when you do go get other insurance, you're not going to have a super high fee or super high premiums to pay for your insurance. Those are things that I think a lot of people are worrying about: the TSP and how it's performing, the cost of things and how they're increasing, rather than looking at, okay, what can I do today? What can I control today so that those things kind of diminish, okay? Because the market's going to do what the market does. It's going to go up and it's going to go down, okay? And overall, what we see is over the past 30 years, the market will continue to increase, okay? But what happens is people get stuck in the day-to-day lives and they see the downturns and they get, the sky's falling effect. But the sky's not falling. What you need to focus on is not so much having the perfect strategy, but focus on how you're contributing and where you're contributing to, okay? Other things you can control. You can control how you plan for retirement. So many federal employees, and this is one of the reasons I got into helping federal employees, is because there's so many of you who just get to retirement and decide, okay, I want to retire today, let me send in my paperwork, without any idea of how you're actually going to live in retirement. I see it all the time, okay? You need to plan beforehand before you retire. That doesn't mean you have to plan, 30 years before. Sure, it's helpful when you can plan 30 years before and, start to look at what do I need to contribute so I can retire. And that's what I help people with. Although you don't have to start those 30 years before, it's helpful, okay? But it's never too late. So don't think that because you're 5 years out or a year out or whatever it is that you can't start planning now. Now, you may have to adjust your retirement date if you're a year out, because you're going to see that, You know, you may not have as much money as you thought to live on. Because you got to understand, if you're retiring at 60 years old, you're going to have an estimated of around 20 years left to live. And that's years that you're going to need money. So how are you going to plan for that money? Like, how are you going to plan for those expenses to be met? How are you going to plan for that money that you have, because you're no longer taking in income? You know, you're going to have your Social Security, you're going to have your pension, and you're going to have your TSP for you FERS employees. How are you going to match those up with what you're going to spend in retirement? Okay, and that's where a financial planner comes in, and financial planning comes in. Those are things you can control. So my advice, stop worrying about the little things that you can't control and start focusing on the things you can control.
I can do this all day, I can do this all night.